All right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock, it's time to learn a little bit about the law, and the person who will teach us is John Fuller. John is an attorney here in Ocala at the law firm of Fuller & Fuller. This program is called Legally Yours, and it is yours. It's your opportunity to call John, ask a question that has been bothering you about the law. Maybe it's something you're personally involved in, or maybe somebody you know, and the way to get on the air is easy, 622-9622, and just so you know, it's a live show. If you're listening on December 10th, 2014, then you're listening to a live show. December 10th is today's date. And again, the number is 622-9622. Good morning, John.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here on a beautiful, chilly morning. I hope you and all our listeners had a good weekend. I understand the Ocala Christmas Parade is this weekend,
yes,
and you will be broadcasting remote.
We are, yes.
So if it's cold, carry a coat.
Are you going to be in the area of Life South?
I don't know. Joe Martone was just telling me that's where you will be set up, broadcasting live, and that will be a lot of fun, I know. So if I am, I'll come by and wave to you.
Yeah, the closer we get to the season, the more you get that feeling of the season, don't you?
Well, yeah, and as we were talking just before we went on the air, I'm so delighted to see some cool weather, especially for Florida, because of all our friends in retail. Number one, I think perhaps it motivates shoppers to want to get out and get the Christmas spirit or the holiday spirit and to go shopping. And certainly, if you're in retail where you're trying to sell sweaters and coats and scarves, things like that, it must be a lot easier to sell it when it's 40 degrees than when it's 80 degrees. Right. So we wish them all well. Have a phone call. Great.
And you do have a phone call. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air with John Fuller.
Good day, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Okay, let me put my radio down so I can talk to you. Good day, Mr. Fuller. Well, I have a problem, and I was wondering how I can go about this. My father passed away and left me a trust fund, monthly checks, and they were being cashed at a church, and I found out. So I told the church, this is my money. You shouldn't be forging my signature and cashing my checks here in Ocala. And so I called the OPD, Ocala Police Department, to find out the church got scared, so they gave the money to Ocala Police Department. And they told me, well, it was donated by this church. And I said, well, that's my money. The church said they were going to hand you over the money, and you were supposed to give it to me. So now they don't want to give me my money, and so I can't get a police report. It's been going on for a very long time. And let's see. And I already had 2 officers fired in the past. And now I have some officers, because the checks are still coming in. I found out the name of an officer that's cashing my checks. Because the money that OPD had, that was the donated money of the checks that were already cashed. But now this other one's cashing checks and giving my money to make false incident reports. And, I've had problems, threats on my life and stuff. So how could I get my money back?
Well, as you probably already perceive, there is no simple, straightforward answer that one could give you that would be a meaningful analysis in a brief public radio show. You have a complex fact situation. You obviously need to seek the counsel of a probate and estate lawyer to review all of the facts and circumstances and the paperwork, including the will, the trust, any correspondence that is associated with it. Review and analyze all of that thoroughly, research the applicable law, and advise you accordingly. Until someone does that, you're not going to be able to get a satisfactory answer just with a simple office conference or a telephone call.
Right.
You mentioned that you were the beneficiary of a trust. Therefore, I think your analysis should start with taking a copy of your deceased father's will and trust that was in effect at the time of his death, and go retain a qualified estate and probate lawyer to review the whole status of this. Law enforcement, their hands are sometimes limited because they only investigate potential criminal matters. Now, some matters can be both criminal and civil. Certainly, if someone has wrongfully deprived you of your money, then that could be a potential crime and would need to be investigated. But it's not really fair to expect law enforcement officers to be your champion to prosecute your civil remedies. You have to avail yourself of appropriate representation. So to give you the best answer I can to a very lengthy and complex question, I would tell you to gather all of the documents that deal with your father's estate, your father's will, your father's trust, and go make an appointment with a lawyer who specializes in estates and probate matters, and get them to evaluate, analyze, and advise you as to what your rights and remedies are and what actions could or should be taken. So I hope that's helpful, but that's what you need to do.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. My pleasure.
All right,
good
thank
day.
you. Yeah, and the phone line is open if you want to call 622-9622. Now, just straightforward, would you be that attorney, or do you not do that?
No, I think because it starts out with the interpretation of estates and probates, I think starting with a probate lawyer would be the appropriate thing. I do probate litigation. I am involved in a substantial probate lawsuit right now.
Right.
So yes, I do and have done probate litigation. Litigation is litigation, and that's what I do. I'm board certified as a civil trial litigator and as a business and commercial litigator. So certainly that's what we do. But before he gets to the point of litigation, he needs to have someone who's knowledgeable and specializes or focuses their practice on wills, estates, and trusts to read the documents, analyze the documents, determine the validity of the documents. Somebody, if they haven't already done so, needs to probate that will and administer that estate. And we didn't talk about that. I don't know whether that's been done or not, but if he's a beneficiary or an heir, he's an interested party. Being a son, he would be a primary presumed person to be the personal representative.
Right.
And if he hasn't done so, the first thing they need to do is to go down and what they call probate, which Latin means to prove the existence of the decedent's, the person who's passed on, will, and then administer that estate and trust. And then out of that process, if there is a disputed claim, then there can be separate litigation or an adversary proceeding in the probate court.
And how do we find the lawyers we need? How do we know? I mean,
well, there's a number of ways. If people call us at the office and have a problem that we can't solve, we're always happy to recommend. I usually give out at least 3 names of people. Okay. But if someone wants to get a direct referral, the Florida Bar, as a public service, has an attorney referral service. They have, the number is 800-342-8011. And you can call the Florida Bar. They have representatives answering the phone all hours during the business week. And you tell them what area of Florida you live in, what geographical area, and you tell them what area of the law your issue, controversy, and need for a lawyer is in. Is it personal injury? Is it a family law? Is it an estate issue? And then they will give you the names and contact information of 3 lawyers in your geographical area who focus their practice in that particular area of the law.
The phone lines are open if you want to call John Fuller. The number is 622-9622. If you call right now, you'll be on hold just a little bit. We've got to take a weather break, John, and a couple of commercials, and we'll be right back. The number again, 622-9622. You are listening to a live show. If it's December 10th on your calendar, December 10th is a live show. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Bright sunshine today, but cool with a high of 60 to 64. Clear and rather cold tonight with a low of 34 in the coldest inland spots to 42 along the coast. Tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds and cool with a high of 60 to 64. And Friday, partial sunshine, the high 62 to 66. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
If you're looking for the perfect gift for the woman in your life, then pay attention. Ocala Eye is offering a complete holiday special 60-minute facial for only $100. This special offer is the ideal holiday gift. The Ocala Eye Signature Facial promotes glowing, youthful skin and is designed to nourish and rebuild the aging process. This holiday special gift certificate also includes 1 cleanser or mask specifically designed to match her skin type. Ocala Eye Aesthetics offers an entire menu of organic skin treatments and procedures. So spoil her during the holidays with an Ocala Eye Signature Facial Gift Certificate for only $100. Offer good now through December 31st. To learn more about the science of maintaining healthy, radiant skin, call Ocala Eye today or go to ocalaeye.com. Trusted doctors and proven technology. Just another way Ocala Eye is looking out for you.
Now is the time to go to your local Kubota dealer, where you can get a great deal on a new Kubota RTV during Kubota's Gear Up and Go sales event. Thinking about a new utility vehicle? Why not choose the top-selling diesels in the U.S. for the past 10 years? The flagship Kubota RTV X1100 combines styling with features like a premium all-weather Grand Cab, extra-duty independent rear suspension, and power steering. Right now, get your own Kubota RTV X Series for 0 down and 0% financing for up to 48 months. So for a great deal, think orange at the Kubota Gear Up and Go sales event. For more information or to find a participating dealer, go to KubotaDealersOfFlorida.com.
0 down, 0% APR financing for terms up to 48 months on selected equipment now through December 31st, 2014. Not available for rental national accounts or government customers. 0% APR low rate financing not available with instant rebate offers. Financing available through Kubota Credit Corporation USA subject to credit approval. Other exceptions may apply. For more information, call toll-free 1-888-465-8268.
All right, fast talking on the radio is like fine print on a contract in the print world.
I can sure talk fast.
John Fuller is here, and John, you have a phone call waiting to chat with you. It's Pete. Good morning, Pete. You're on the air now with John.
Mr. Fuller, I have a lighthearted question for you.
That's always a great change of pace, Pete. Thank you for calling in.
If you could travel back in time through history, is there any one legal case you wish you could have participated in as one of the lawyers?
Gideon versus Wainwright. It grew out of Florida. Mr. Gideon was the town drunk in the Panhandle, and he got arrested for a petty theft, and he was indigent, and he asked the judge to appoint him a lawyer because he could not afford one, and the Constitution says everyone has the right to effective assistance of counsel in a criminal case. Up until that time, the Supreme Court of the United States had held that the Constitution only entitled you to an appointed lawyer if you were charged with a capital offense like murder or something that you could get the death sentence for. Gideon made the motion. The court denied his motion. His case was tried. He was convicted and sentenced to jail. And he prepared on a sheet of legal pad a handwritten petition for a writ of habeas corpus, which means to produce the body, bring me forward, and give me relief to the Florida Supreme Court. He then filed, and he did this researching it himself in the prison library, a petition to proceed in what is called informa pauperis. Latin again just means I'm broke, I'm poor, I don't have any money for the filing fee and the printing and for fancy lawyers. And Justice Hugo Black, who was a premier U.S. Supreme Court justice for many, many years from the state of Alabama, but very liberal, very progressive judge in the area of civil rights and other constitutionally guaranteed rights. He granted the petition for habeas, took it before the full court. The full court ratified it. They appointed Abe Fortas, who was one of the leading constitutional lawyers of that generation, who later became a Supreme Court justice.
Oh, wow.
They appointed Abe Fortas to argue his case. They had oral argument on it. Last year was the 50th anniversary of the Gideon versus Wainwright case. They reversed his conviction on the grounds that he had been unconstitutionally deprived of his right to effective assistance of counsel, which applied to all criminal cases, not just capital criminal cases. They found that the 14th Amendment applied the Fourth and Fifth Amendments and the Sixth Amendment to the states in that case, remanded it to the Panhandle to be retried. He had another trial and was acquitted when he had the assistance of a trained lawyer. And from that day on, out of that case grew our public defender system that we have in Florida, so that any citizen who is accused of a crime, whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony or a capital felony, if he or she are indigent, they are entitled to a duly appointed effective counsel who is paid for by the taxpayers, so that every citizen is assured equal representation. I think that was a significant case. I love the background story. I love that it came out of the Panhandle of Florida. The Louis Wainwright, the defendant in it, was the superintendent of the prison systems of Florida at the time.
Oh, wow. I think you thought about this question before, Pete.
That was a great answer. It's hard to believe that as recently as 50 years ago, we did not have the right to a court-appointed lawyer. Thank you very much.
That's
Mr.
exactly
Fuller.
right. Thank you for your question. That was a very insightful question. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it.
That was cool to hear. And you have another call. Good morning. You're on the air with John Fuller.
Good morning. Enjoy listening to that.
Good morning.
One question: when you talked about earlier about getting a referral from the Florida bar, when you see the attorney that is referred by the Florida bar, could you explain what happens with the initial fee? Is it the same, or is there a discount, or whatever? I'll hang up and listen to you.
I believe that when a lawyer subscribes to being available for referral from the Florida bar, that the first 1 hour consultation is not charged. If the lawyer goes forward with any representation to undertake to represent you, then there would have to be an agreement between you and the lawyer you chose to retain for their professional services. It's not a free service, but I think the initial consultation, which may be limited, it may be 30 minutes, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think the initial consultation to go in and meet the lawyer and give him the basics of what your issue is and decide whether or not he's interested or available or able to help you, and what would be his fee structure for that type of a case, then that would be something that would have to be agreed upon between the potential client and the lawyer. But I think that's the way it works.
Regarding finding a lawyer, I have a real quick thing I want to ask you. In music, Robin and I do music. Once in a while, we get a contract. Somebody wants to have an option to a song. Like for the next year, you can't do anything. We can't do anything with it because they want to try to sell it. Okay, that's usually what it is. So there's a contract. It always says, have your lawyer look it over before signing it. It's kind of like a standard thing. We always, there's not much to it. We just look at this is what we're agreeing to. And do I really need a lawyer for that? I mean,
it's hard to say. That comes under the area of sports entertainment law, and I don't know. That's not an area that I have ever dealt with, but certainly contract law is important. The essence of contract is to anticipate future occurrences that might happen.
But we might not see,
and to provide how it's to be treated. I don't know about continuing royalties or any of those things. ASCAP, American Society of Composers and Producers. I don't know if it's a song that's being performed, that's been published by someone, if they still have residuals on it. And that's a whole complex area. Probably find someone really knowledgeable in Nashville or or Memphis or somewhere like that.
Yeah, they don't realize we don't really have access to that. And I don't think that financially the cost for the attorney might not be in our best interest, because especially if we're just getting him to look over a short 1 or 2 page contract.
Yeah, usually, it's a cost-benefit analysis always, but it's really hard to say. People say, do I need a will? And then you hear somebody say, everybody needs a will.
Yeah.
Well, that's not necessarily true. Everybody needs somebody knowledgeable in estate planning to review what they want to happen to their possessions at the time of their death.
Yeah.
And if you need a will, then prepare one. But it's not true that everybody, quote, needs a will.
Oh, okay.
It depends upon the size of their estate, tax consequences, do they want to be beneficiaries of the estate.
Right.
If they own everything they have in joint names with their spouse, and in the event they passed away jointly, they'd like it all to go to their children. The law kind of provides for that.
And, some of the contracts we've signed have been electronic. They've been on the internet or on a computer or something. And basically, I just type my name. It's not really a signature.
Yeah.
I click a box
but the terms and conditions of those things spell out that by doing that, you are acknowledging that your electronic signature has the same force and effect as a personally signed document. This electronic signature.
We've got about a minute and a half left, John. Is there anything when we get to the new year that we have to know about as far as laws? Like, remember when that whole insurance law changed? That was a big deal.
Yeah, that was because the statute was so poorly drafted by our legislature that you couldn't tell the actual effective date, because parts of it went into effect in January and parts of it went into effect July 1, as I recall.
Yeah.
Most new laws take effect after the legislature meets, usually in July. The legislature meets in spring. They're out. Governor has time to veto or to sign the bills that are sent to him into law, and most of the effective dates happen in the summertime. So I don't know of anything. It doesn't mean there isn't someone out there that has been modified with an aberrant effective date on it. But I don't know off the top of my head of anything major that's coming down.
John, we got 24 seconds. Why don't you give us your phone number? And
our office number in Ocala is 352-547-4292. Our toll-free number is 855-534-2565. Law firm of Fuller & Fuller.
And call us if you need that repeated. Also, share the videos with somebody you know and care about and get some good information to them. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Larry.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. A report putting harsh CIA interrogations in the spotlight, triggering criticism against the program, but former CIA Director Michael Hayden telling Fox News...
We got an awful lot of information. Oh, look.
Adding, we're still relying on that information today. Hayden, who headed up the CIA during George W. Bush's second term, says he did not lie to Congress about those interrogations. Time's Person of the Year award going to the doctors, nurses, and others fighting Ebola. And an award